Okay, good evening. We've been talking and we've been trying to get a sign, a picture of the sign of Chilhowie city limits. And the reason is we've been talking and we were thinking that maybe we should change this from the Chilhowie show to the Chilhowie city limits. And just make sure you stay out of the Chilhowie city limits. And oh, there's so many things to write about. Let's start. One is a real funny article in the Smith County paper that the city of Chilhowie wants to have me arrested under some obscure law about using profanity against a city official like Bill Boswell, like Rick, the you-know-what, my God. Don't say anything offensive. This isn't America after all. This is not the ride for freedom, is it? Okay. This is the ride for communism. Yes, take away everybody's rights, and if they look at you crooked, send them to the gulag, just like Solzhenitsyn used to write about. Okay, anyway, so maybe we'll call it Chilhowie city limits. Stay out of Chilhowie. We think that a lot more people in Chilhowie, if they got those two round things between their legs called testicles, they should stand up and get rid of all the trash officials by asking them to all step down. Okay? Now, if they don't want to do that, they're stuck with what they got. People have been writing pretty nonstop. I don't have time to get them all up on the phone to go over all of them. But first, a couple things I'd like to clear up before I go into more and more details is one, Bill Boswell is lying about what the discussion was in town. I offered to move my horse before he got there. He said nobody could have told me that they were his brother-in-law, which is a lie because it was Tom. I have a photo of the guy. I did not discuss with Bill about keeping the horse in the park. I asked Bill if there's somewhere else in Chilhowie where I could keep him. Bill didn't say to me, I don't know, you could ask around. Bill said to me, no, as in, no, there is no other place for you to keep your horse in Chilhowie. Okay, very different story. Now remember, this guy was really rude to me as soon as I met him, before I said anything to him. So this is sort of the demeanor of this guy. And from all the comments I get from people, this is Bill Boswell. Bill Boswell didn't turn into an ugly ogre troll under the bridge just because he met me. He was already that way. By the way, another thing I want to mention, my little girl giving the finger, well, she may be 3 years old, but she knows what it is like to be jacked up by somebody, and she knows when someone is good or bad. And she was giving him the finger. Okay, now, the other thing is that Rick, the cop, also lied. Because this is what I wear when I'm driving. I put one leather jacket over it. When I go out to saddle the horse, when the horse is all saddled, I put on my heavy duster because it's more awkward and I can't get saddling done and all that type of stuff because it's stiffer like that, right? When I get off the horse, I get back to the bus, I take my duster off, it gets folded up by the saddle, and I take my leather jacket off and put it there because it's hard to steer the bus with that leather jacket on. The pockets are full of different things I need when I'm on the road. So for Rick, the cop, to say that he shined his light in my face because I had a trench coat on is bullshit. Okay? Furthermore, he shined his light in my face through the front of this bus when I was still driving it, when it was still moving, when I hadn't brought it to a stop yet, next to the lawn where they have the piers for the parking area there. Okay? I never asked about keeping the bus at the park. Another thing that Bill and the cop is lying about. They said, no, we don't have a place for your horse and you can't park your bus here. I never asked them to park it there. Okay? So I said, well, where can I park it? And somewhere else in town? No. You might be able to park it at McDonald's for a little bit. Well, they have a sign there. Parking there for when you're a customer. So I said, oh, that's fine. We'll go to Marion. Okay? Chilhowie isn't big enough to inconvenience us for very long. Alright? But anyway, to say that he shined his light in my face because I was wearing a trench coat and he was trying to protect himself, it's a lie. Okay? It's just bullshit. But it seems that there's a lot of lying and a lot of bullshit goes on in Chilhowie. Here's some of the stories I heard today. A girl in Chilhowie sold her baby. Someone from Marion bought the baby. No adoption papers, no legal process, just sold her and took the money, okay? A 14-year-old boy in Chilhowie puts his stepsister, named Hope, or something like that, into a commercial washing machine, and she gets washed to death. The judge drops the manslaughter case. The boy is the son of some elite person in the town, and people wrote me and said this guy, this young kid, had an attitude that wouldn't stop, was always in trouble before this, and this is the kind of kid he was. This wasn't an accident. It was murder. Okay? There's this cop comes to town named April, and she's from some other town apparently, and she comes to Chilhowie and has a gangbang in City Hall with some other Chilhowie cops. Now isn't that cute? And you know there's, and they wrote me and said there's pictures of this. So someone out there has a hard drive or a CD or a camera hard drive with pictures on it. Send them to us. We'll publish them. They'd be great photos. You know, we could find a porn site maybe to publish them on. But somebody has pictures of the orgy at Chilhowie City Hall. I mean, that's worth something, you know? Okay. So, there's another city cop named Steve Sexton who worked for Chilhowie. And someone wrote me and said that he got mysteriously fired, okay? And nobody knows why, okay? So that's something I might follow up. The other thing is that someone wrote me and said that the cop that parks at the school all the time, that cop was writing letters to a girl that goes to the school. And then somebody was trying to cover the whole thing up and make it hush-hush. Like maybe the parents found out and didn't like what the letters said. But those letters would be worth something too. So if you know where there's copies of those letters that cop was writing to that girl, I bet there's pretty steamy stuff in there. You could send them to us and we could read them on Chilhowie City Limits. That sounds good. Don't you like that? Okay, so let's see. Anyway, the Smithville or the Smith County paper had this article. You know, they wrote this article to give you an idea about the journalism. They talked to the Chilhowie city folks, but they never called me. My phone number's on the web page. They never called me and asked me what I had to say. So they just printed one side of the story. They saw the video. They have no idea what inspired it. They don't know what those guys have said, what I've said, and they didn't bother to ask me. Okay, that's fine. But it's pretty interesting that Chilhowie would have the state of Virginia spend their money because I give the finger to Bill Boswell and Rick the cop on a video on YouTube. Okay? Under some obscure law about using profanity on a city official. Now, considering all the snow that's on the roads, and considering the excessive quantity of idiots that live in Chilhowie running the city, if the state police have the time to investigate and can afford to spend the state's money investigating a YouTube video about some nincompoops in Chilhowie, and then put out an arrest warrant for a guy on horseback for using profanity in a YouTube video, well, that'd be real interesting. You know, that'll about clinch it on the state of Virginia. Will sort of descend to the equal water. Water seeks its own level of the city of Chilhowie, you know. But I don't tend to think that the state of Virginia sees itself in the same kind of light. But maybe things are pretty boring in Virginia right now. Anyway, I'd like to thank the jackasses in Chilhowie because we're over 8,000 hits in this video. I believe a couple other newspapers are going to investigate the story, this hurricane of bad public relations for Chilhowie. Bill Boswell and Rick the cop are bringing a hurricane of bad PR in the city of Chilhowie because, you know, nobody in the city, no official in the city has ever contacted me and said, hey, you know, hey, there's probably a misunderstanding there, and you know, somebody might have exchanged some little words they didn't think about, you know, and we really don't, you know, mean any hard feelings, and hope you have a good trip and see you later, and blah, 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 you know. No, that didn't happen either, you know. So, anyway, hurricane of bad PR. I mean, this is on dailycause.com. Daily, DAILYKOS.com. This is like a web blog that gets like 1 million hits a day. And now Chilhowie's on there too, right? And I've already sent the link about the Smith paper around to a couple of journalists, and it's posted on Facebook now, and it's on some more YouTube stuff like this video. Okay, I ought to read the link for you. It's a really long link, but you can look it up under day 324, Smith County paper, or whatever that is. You'll find it because it's in today's paper. Big article, okay? Somehow it's all my fault that Bill Boswell is a rude guy. You know, he's just always a rude guy. And if he brings people to cussing and swearing and profanity, I was courteous enough not to do it to his face, you know, just to let him go his way. But, you know, we have a saying, you know, you burn someone's bridge after you leave town, okay? So I have my freedom of speech, he can have his. What's he going to say, you know? My horse didn't wash this morning? What? He can't say that they were concerned that my horse was going to poop in the city park and they'd have to clean it up, because the thing probably has no less than about 2 metric tons of goose shit in there. I mean, if you look how long that park is in Chilhowie, you know, where they used to make all the black folks live, and you measure how wide it is, and you see that there's a goose turd this long about every 6 inches in every direction on that entire park. And you get out there with a spoon and you pick it up and you fill 2 dump trucks. I guarantee you got a lot of goose shit in there. A couple horse turds wouldn't be your first problem, okay? But you could have got a good... my horse, now, let me tell you something about my horse. He's fed really good, and he does about 8 turds a night, okay? And many towns have found out that that is really good fertilizer for a couple of reasons. Number one, they get video made about their town, interesting stuff that's in their town, and good people that I meet in their town, and some good food in their town, and all the good hospitality. That's great fertilizer, and it gets in the video, and you can go back and look, and you won't find very many videos in 380 videos about different towns in America that match up anything like Chilhowie city limits, okay? So, anyway, there's a lot happening in that town of Chilhowie. I mean, I get a lot of emails, a lot of messages on Facebook and YouTube from people. I mean, this guy wrote me tonight and said, we bought a house in this county and we already have it on the market to sell it because there is such a bunch of assholes in this county. He says, ignorant, unintelligent, corrupt, you know, people. Well, unfortunately, I met really great people in Marion. I will never forget the mayor of Marion, because he was such a friendly guy. I mean, that's impressive. And I didn't have any trouble with anybody else in Smith County. People at Rural Retreat were really great people. I met a couple just spectacular people from Marion. I met some great people from Chilhowie. But there isn't apparently enough great people in Chilhowie to kick the officials out and re-elect. It's called vote. Go down there and hold a special referendum, a special election, and vote all these people out. Steve Price, the police chief, Bill Boswell, the mayor, maybe, just the whole city council, just vote them all out, lock the doors, start all over, all right? But I don't think there's enough people to do that. I think that, you know, there's just maybe a few good people in Chilhowie, because it seems like those turkeys have the run of the place. Anyway, there was more good stories, and I can't remember what they all are because they're all these different emails and stuff from people in Chilhowie telling me what goes on in that place. I mean, but the pictures of the April and the Chilhowie cops, I mean, did they wear their belts and their guns still when they were doing this orgy? That would have been pretty kinky, huh? Yeah, you know, so I wonder what's up with all that. Anyway, there's probably, we can still use a picture of the Chilhowie city limits. We need a good clear sign on a good clear day because we're going to use it on the beginning of the video. And so anyway, if you got any more stories, anything you want to send in, I mean, I think when you get a county paper printing an article that the state police are going to arrest me for talking bad about Bill Boswell, you are going to put Chilhowie on the city map. And it may not be all that fun, but hey, ride the wave the world gives you, huh? And Chilhowie, the Chilhowie City Limit Show is going to go on for a good long time because the people of Chilhowie found a place where they can write and tell their stories. And you can write me and tell your stories, and we'll have, when we get enough stories, we'll do the next Chilhowie City Limits show, okay? And so that's about it for today on Chilhowie. I think there's going to be a couple other journalists investigating what's going on.